above and beyond the headlines with Bishop Broderick Pabillo himself. Bishop, thank you po for joining us on Newsnight.
Okay, good evening sa inyo lahat.
So Bishop, please clarify for us, what is the pastoral instruction of the Archdiocese of Manila on religious services? Can churches accommodate 10% capacity or totally no church services over the next 2 weeks?
First and foremost, that is a pastoral instruction. So that means that is meant to guide the pastors and the faithful about what they will do during this time of the Holy Week. And secondly, in that short document, less than 1,000 words, we have repeated more than 9 times, encouraging the faithful to participate online. So that means that the majority of the faithful, all the faithful are asked to participate online, and these are available in the different platforms that we have. And thirdly, we have said that although there is encouragement to participate online, those who would like to come and join the services physically in the church, we can accommodate them, but not more than 10%. And that has been said because the instruction of the IATF is not clear. The IATF says that there would be no mass gathering. Now, we don't think that 10% of our church capacity is a mass gathering. So they should not presuppose that every religious service is a mass gathering. In fact, they allow baptisms. They allow funerals.
So Bishop, when you say 10% physically in the church, is that inside the church or within the compound of the church?
Inside the church.
Okay.
Inside the church. And our churches are big. They can be spread all around. So that is our interpretation of what they say, that there is no mass gathering. That's why we have put that ceiling. We have put that limit.
So, Bishop, what if the capacity exceeds 10% who want to enter the church? Will they be turned away?
We have already the experience of 1 year, and those who come to church, they know how we are organized. That those, when they say 30% before or 50% before, those who would exceed that, they are not allowed to come. So there are protocols, and we are following our own protocols. So in some churches, we have pre-registration. So if they are not registered, they cannot come, and people know that.
So the big question right now, Bishop, is this term mass gatherings. It seems like the IATF and the government don't quite understand what this mass gathering term means, because they feel even at 10%, it is already a mass gathering. And if the church allows 10% capacity physically in the churches, this is already in defiance of the national government's guidelines.
Yeah, that's how they look at it. Because they're very arbitrary. They don't clarify the rules beforehand. A restaurant that would have 20 people is even a mass gathering than a church that would have 30 people. They're a big church. They in the malls, try to see how close the people are in the malls, and they are moving around. While in the church, when they come in church, they stay in place, and they are kept apart.
And Bishop, it seems like the Archdiocese was not consulted on this matter, or did the government just unilaterally make a decision without consulting the church?
Precisely. We have said that in our own note. This should tell us also that the government should clarify their terms so that they could be followed. And secondly, that when they make decisions affecting certain sectors, they should be consulted. Or if they make decisions about businessmen should be consulted. About workers, the workers group should be consulted. when they make decisions about religious activities, the religious sector should be consulted. Because they just make the decision and without any consultation at all. For example, this is Holy Week, a very important period for believers.
But it seems like, Bishop, they're looking back to previous experiences like the Feast of the Nazarene, when they encouraged people not to go to Quiapo Church, but we still saw thousands of the faithful attending ceremonies during that one-day celebration.
Yeah, but there was also the research that there was no surge during the time. So they cannot just blame that because there are a lot of people, there will be a surge. That also happened during Simbang Gabi. That also happened here in Santo Niño. People were disciplined. And they kept apart. And plus the power of prayer. We should not discount also the power of prayer. The grace of God that works. But of course, if they don't believe in the spiritual powers, they make those decisions. But for us, we believe there are also spiritual powers that would help us. No?
But Bishop, Holy Week is next week, so there is still time, Bishop, for the church, for the Manila Archdiocese, and for the IATF and the national government to sit down and discuss about this term of mass gatherings and the 10% capacity in churches.
That's why, if they want to talk.
Have they already reached out to you, Bishop? Let's sit down, let's talk about this rather than all this discussion in statements and in the media.
There are some people who are, I received some numbers here, and we are trying to set up. But I don't know yet what we will do. So there are some initiatives. No, but to whom do we reach out? No, we want to talk to decision makers, and not a spokesperson who cannot change anything.
That's right. The government spokesperson is saying that if there is a defiance of the national government's guidelines, that no mass gatherings will take place in churches during the 2-week general community quarantine bubble, they have the power to shut down these churches.
That's the words of the spokesperson, because they cannot do any decision. They just have to mouth things. Now, let them say what they want to say. But if there is supposed to be a dialogue, it should be with the decision makers.
Who do you think should you be talking to, Bishop?
I don't know.
Who is the decision maker that can make a decision and can come up with a compromise with the Catholic Church whether 10% is considered mass gatherings or not? And if the church should be allowed, I mean, especially during this holiest week of the Catholic faithful, to have at least 10% or less capacity in churches.
I don't know who is supposed to be the decision makers.
But for now, Bishop, you will stick to this 10% capacity, and it will be the decision of the local communities and the parishes if they will allow 10% or less capacity in their churches.
Yeah, that's why we have the principle of subsidiarity. No, the archdiocese is big. The situation of the different parishes are different from each other. No, and there are possibilities that the parishes can make within their own jurisdiction. That's why we put that limit of 10%, because we feel that that is not a mass gathering. So it's not placed there in order to defy the government. It's placed there precisely because that's our interpretation of no mass gathering. So let them clarify.
And we do hope, Bishop, that the church and the state will be able to sit down and discuss their differences before Holy Week next week. Thank you so much for joining us, Bishop Broderick Pabillo from the Archdiocese of Manila, which covers the cities of Manila, Pasay, Makati, Mandaluyong, and San Juan.